Okay, Jacob, the first thing I've noticed about your essay is that you need to remember to highlight the important parts of the question. So how important, terror, control, and the date. Now it's really important that you do this at the start of your essay, because what I've found when reading through your essay is it becomes a little descriptive, and also you seem to confuse what you're writing about. You talk a lot about people, sort of methods of gaining support for the Nazi Party, and you forget that our question focus is on how much terror created this element of control of Germany. So have a look through. Anything in blue is stuff that I think that you should consider changing. Anything in green is stuff that's good. So I like in the introduction that you've mentioned other factors, but I probably would have gone on to mention a few more of those other factors that you're going to mention in the main body of your essay. Here, I just found that this sentence was a little descriptive. If you're talking about the SS and terror, you want to say, these were the SS, this is what they did, this is why they created terror, and this is how that resulted in control. Not this kind of descriptive narrative that you've got going on here. And the same thing at the bottom of this page here too. Okay, moving on then. I quite liked this part of your essay. So on the other hand, terror was not the only significant factor. Not for Hitler, that's not what you're writing about. You're not talking about how terror was good for Hitler, you're talking about how terror created control. And then you've got a good example here, and you've got some good sort of key terms going through. I like the point here about the fact that he gained his position legitimately. You probably could have gone into a little bit more detail about that, because the legal revolution is definitely another significant factor to the Nazis gaining control. Great that you mentioned the Enabling Act here, good key term, and you've remembered a key date too. I changed the word assisting, see if you can find something better to make your point there. Here, finally, propaganda also didn't cause terror, but rather gained Hitler support of followers for the Nazi regime. It's not really the focus of the question. I think that takes your focus away from the actual question a little bit there, so I'd revise that sentence if you could. Careful of making general sweeping statements. He wasn't the only political figure to despise communism. Okay, and then moving on, I find your essay comes to rather an abrupt end. I like these bits here, and I like what you're saying in your conclusion, but it doesn't actually match what you've discussed in your essay. If you'd actually discussed in your essay as clearly and as well linked to the question all the things you've mentioned in this conclusion area, then probably you would be looking at a much higher grade for your essay. Okay, lastly then, moving on to grade descriptors. We always start at level 3 and see which parts you have achieved, and then we look at the grade, the level above and the level down, to see which grade you'll get overall. The question is partly addressed. The focus, I find, is more on the topic in places rather than the specific demands of the question. Some relevant knowledge and understanding. It's evaluated in parts. I wouldn't say it's analysed in parts. Knowledge and understanding, I would say, is a little limited, because you do get a little bit descriptive, and also I feel like you know a few more statistics and facts than what you included in your actual essay. In places, knowledge is imparted rather than being used. That's, look back at the bits where I've said that it's a little bit descriptive and you haven't linked back to the question. Your analysis isn't appropriately linked to the judgment made. Your analysis at the end was great, but it doesn't link back to what you've actually mentioned in the main body of your essay. So bearing that in mind, I would give you 8 out of 20 marks for this, so a high level 2. So you're looking at probably a D equals for this essay. So have a look back at my comments. I think time was a bit of a factor for you. Do your dirt on your assignment feedback sheet, and let's see if we can improve that D equals to a higher grade. But well done. There are some good points in your essay. It's just about how do we tighten those up and make your evaluation and analysis a little more clear.